Welcome to the Sensual Feminine Life podcast. I am your host, Jen Bagayski, where I will take you on a deep dive into your own life so that hidden, hurting parts of your soul can be healed. This is a podcast about love, sex, pleasure, and relationships. You will learn how to feel safe to truly love and connect with your body. Surrender to the desires and hungers of your soul and step into the beautiful, sensual, feminine, sexy, and powerful woman you were created to be. I believe deeply in my soul that sexuality is the missing key in personal growth and development. It is time to toss away all of the nonsense you have been taught about these taboo topics and heal your relationship to your sexuality. You can eliminate shame and guilt, own your sexy confidence, feel incredible in your skin, embrace the depths of exquisite pleasure, and have the deeply connected relationships you truly desire. Grab your cozy socks, pour yourself a glass of wine, get comfy, and let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the Sensual Feminine Life podcast. And today I want to talk about the topic of role models that we have had in our upbringing on what it means to be a woman. And as someone who was raised devout Catholic, the woman figure that was always portrayed in my world was Mother Mary. And I can remember as a little girl, my mom, my grandmother, everything revolved around the church. And in regards to honoring Mary. And, when you're little, you don't really necessarily understand why you're doing the things that you're doing. And then you're taught various reasons as to why we should worship Mary. And you may have similar beliefs, you may have different beliefs. I'm sharing from my experience on what I was taught, whether the way I interpreted it is the way it was meant to be interpreted or not. There's no proof of that. All I can do is share with you what I was taught and what I think so many other women have been taught around these female role models. And actually, I think there are other different flavors of Christianity that have a different representation of Mother Mary, where they don't necessarily have the reverence and worship to Mary that some of the other denominations do. Again, not right or wrong, it's just showing that there are different interpretations of what has been taught to us around religion and sexuality and role models, etc. Because let's face it, Mother Mary was a virgin. And I can remember, for as young as I can be, being told how pure and innocent it was to be a virgin, that it was important to not give yourself up to another man just because, right? It was something that was supposed to just be used in the sacrament of marriage, that we should save ourselves for marriage. And at the same time, I think that there was also this belief that we needed to have this purity, this innocence, this virgin-like aura, if you could call it, around who we are as women. Now, I totally understand the not just sleeping around with everybody, right? Okay, that makes sense. But I'm talking about when we look at the role models in the female role models in the church, there really were not many. And when I think about stories about Mary Magdalene, right, and the things that were taught about her, and she was not pure, she was not a virgin, and it's almost like it, I would say, degraded her. I'm trying to find the right words for it, but did not give off the impression that she was someone who we, as a good Christian Catholic girl, should model ourselves after. And again, if I go back, I'm looking at some notes because there are some things that just came up in the last couple of days on this topic, but I can remember putting Mary on a pedestal. I mean, my mother prayed the rosary. She still prays the rosary on a regular basis as this worship to Mary. And I don't know if she's ever really been able to describe in words, like why she chooses to have the faith that she does and what it really means to her from a faith perspective, like what Mary actually meant as a role model to her. I think that it was just taught, this is what you should do. And it's about purity and being a virgin. And it's almost like we were taught as young girls that if we had sex out of wedlock, that we should be shamed and that there was something bad and wrong with us. That if we did not wait and save ourselves until we were married, that we were sinful, that there was something wrong with us. And I so want to open up more dialogue on this topic because as I dive deeper into my own self, my relationship with myself, my relationship with my body, with spirit, right? There are new messages that show up. And it's interesting because I want to talk about two different things here. Like what I've kind of been taught was, here's what the church taught. And then as I've explored more in the space, there's been this patriarchal view that the church people did not want women to know their ultimate power in their sexuality. That our true power comes from our life force, comes from our womb space, comes from our pussy, like our entrance to where we give birth, right? This is a sacred, divine portal. And I totally understand the component of honoring it, respecting it, saving it. And yet at the same time, I also think that there were so many things that we were taught about it being shameful to experience and to have this hunger and desire for this sexual power, that it was almost like purity was superior than owning your sexuality. It was kind of like the holy saint and the whore, right? Like, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the slut and the whore over here? Or do you want to be this goddess, this saint, this pure virgin over here? It's like we were taught just two opposites. And what I think that we're missing is the real depth underneath, because our power is in our sexuality, in the connecting with our own body, with our own divinity. And if we're not taught about that, and we're taught to worship outside of us, Mother Mary was outside of us, to worship that person as this virgin, pure, who gave birth without actually having intercourse. Now, that's kind of one of those stories that is interesting, and it's almost like it kind of doesn't make sense. But I feel like I've learned some new nuggets of wisdom in regards to maybe what the real intention was that has not really been passed down from generation to generation. And unless you are diving deep into understanding these role models and are open to different perspectives, I think here's the key. There are so many people that have opinions around various things. They're going to point to the Bible and say, here's what it says in the Bible. They're going to point over here and say, you know what, here's a fact over here. And what I'd like to invite you to do is to explore, to be open to perspectives. And just because you're listening to a perspective doesn't necessarily mean you have to take that on as your belief. However, I think it's important to hear different things and to feel what feels right within you, like deep within your soul, right? Because there are things that we've been taught that we think are the truth that really necessarily aren't. So sometimes it's harder to get to some of those. I know in my own journey, everything that I have been through and every roadblock that I have moved through has come back to church, has come back to religion. Something I would have never, ever questioned because it was just fact, it was just truth. So it's opening up to thinking about this from a different perspective and then feeling how it really lands in your body. The more connected we are with our body, the more we can feel what is true, what is truly in alignment with our soul, as opposed to what might be in alignment with what we currently believe, as opposed to what our soul truly believes, right? Because when our soul is out of alignment with our belief, this is where we have challenges come into play, where things don't manifest for us when we have that dissonance. And what I wanted to explore a little bit more, and I want to have more discussions on, is what the real intention behind the purity of Mother Mary really was. And what I'm almost feeling is that, and take this for what it's worth, it's almost like she was able to connect with the divine. She was whole and complete in herself and was able to connect with spirit. There wasn't a physical human that she needed to connect with in order to feel that connection. Yes, we know the body is sacred, absolutely, right? But is what we're longing for really this deep connection with spirit? And the vision of Mother Mary, is it really not about purity and sex or no sex or worship? Is it really the wholeness and the innocence of who you are as a woman? That it's not about anything outside of you, It's about the divinity within you. Not saying that sexuality, being with a partner is bad, wrong, shameful, not at all. But the truth is, it is about when you are able to be whole and complete within you, and you can share yourself with someone else, as opposed to feeling separate and not connected and seeking that connection from outside of you. And most people are not thinking that they're doing this, but there is an energy around it that sexuality is spirituality. I read an article the other day, it was beautiful, and it said something about the female body being the portal to the divine for men, and how being intimate is like being connected with God for them. And how beautiful that is, that you can have this connection where when a man is with a woman and you can feel this connection with God, this deep connection that you maybe don't feel on a regular basis, right? You maybe just don't think about it. You don't feel it. It doesn't matter where you're at in your faith perspective, right? But this connectedness and how you can feel that depth and how beautiful it is. It's just that when we have people who are looking to each other to fill that gap, to fill that hole, that need, that's when I think we lose the meaning of the depth of sexuality. I think some of us in the journey and the healing process, that the relationships that we have with men and women help us heal various components of our own masculine and feminine wounding. But the true depth of spirituality comes when you as a woman can look at yourself as whole and complete, not see yourself as separate, not see yourself as lacking, not see yourself as something missing. How many women do you hear out there say, I just feel something's missing? Something's missing. I can't put my finger on it. I want more. Something is missing. Okay. It's that depth of connection and wholeness with ourself that we need to unravel, and getting in touch with our own body, our own sexuality, our own divinity is the key to making that happen. And then when two people can share that love and union with one another, that's where real beauty and love expands. You see, when people are using sex for, I'm missing something, so I need this from you, and I'm missing something, so I need this from you, and you know what, it happens, right? And sometimes we need it. I'm not even judging that, but it's this whole concept of being just whole in yourself, not separate from yourself, not looking for something from another person, but rather sharing and giving of yourself to someone else. And when you have two people that are both sharing and giving of themselves, how amazing and miraculous this is. And I almost wonder, could this be where some of the teachings of Mother Mary went wrong? That it wasn't the intention to teach sex is bad, shameful, you need to be a virgin. But that the true reality is understanding the divinity within you, not within Mary, the divinity within you as a woman. Finding that wholeness and completeness in yourself. And if you're curious to have more conversations around this topic, I would love to hear what you have to say. I would love to have more dialogue on this. I think this is a topic that is so important, right? You hear me talk about sexuality, you hear me talk about spirituality, feminine, masculine energy. They're all related. We need to understand what the truth is. There's so many lies that have been put out there on these topics. And it's finding the truth, finding what feels right for you, and how we can then expand on that and share more of that reality with the world so that we can experience depth of connection, that we can experience ecstatic bliss, that we can experience the abundance that God wants for each and every one of us. And I hope that you were inspired by today's message. And if you're interested in learning more, again, please feel free to reach out and schedule a free consult with me. I would love to support you in any way that I can. I'm also going to be hosting an event in early March where we're going to dive a little bit more into some of these topics. So stay tuned for the date that will be revealed that is coming up shortly, because I think that this is truly an important topic that we need to talk more about, not shove it under the rug and not just take what we've been taught as reality and truth, because maybe there's a different truth that's more serving, that will serve you more and will serve your family more and will serve others more. Thank you so much for listening to the Sensual Feminine Life podcast. I'm your host, Jen Bogajski. If you have enjoyed what you heard today, be sure to hit the follow button so you don't miss future episodes. And leave a review to help reach other passionate women like you know they are not alone in this journey to experiencing thriving relationships, exquisite pleasure, and sexy confidence. If you have felt a calling to take this work to a deeper level, this is your sacred invitation to join my free Facebook group, Essential Feminine Life, or schedule a heart-to-heart with me to learn more about how you can take this work to the next level and say yes to your pleasure and your desire.